Welcome to class number 50, class 50, Gethsemane, feet, praying for the cup. Taken from Matthew chapter 26, Mark chapter 14, Luke 22, and John 18. After his touching last conversation with the apostles, followed by the high priest's prayer, Jesus left the city with his disciples and came to Gethsemane garden on the Mount of Olives. They had often come there. That's why Judas led the guards to that place. When the Lord entered the garden, he stopped the disciples and, taking Peter, James, and John with him, went some distance and began to pray and grieve. "My soul is grieved to death," he said to these closest disciples. "Wait here and watch with me." Having departed from them a little, he fell on his face, kneeling, and prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." This prayer was so intense that his sweat, like drops of blood, was dripping on the ground, and an angel came and encouraged him, as if God the Father left his Son for a while, and therefore the angel came. These moral sufferings of Christ prove the existence of two natures in him, divine and human. Is human nature grieved and feared death, especially because death is the fruit of sin, Romans chapter 5. And the sinless nature of Christ was indignant against it. At the same time, these moral sufferings were because the Lord took upon himself the sins of the whole world. What the whole world had to suffer was now concentrated on him alone. The grief of Christ was also caused by the consciousness of human ingratitude to God. During his prayer, the Lord 3 times came to his 3 disciples, but found them sleeping. He meekly reproached them. The disciples were facing a great temptation and needed to watch and pray. "The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak," means your soul is able to overcome this temptation, but human nature is weak and is capable of a great fall. After praying for the 3rd time, he came to his disciples to warn them about the approach of the traitor. Now we come to the arrest of Jesus. Matthew 26, Mark 14, Luke 22, John 18. Judas brought with him a detachment of soldiers, warriors. They expected the possibility of serious resistance. The warriors didn't know Jesus and were ordered to take the one whom Judas would point out by kissing. When the traitor approached, saying, "Rejoice, Rabbi," and kissed him, Jesus said, "Judas, do you betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" And then addressed the soldiers, "Who are you looking for?" They answered, "Jesus of Nazareth." And the Lord said, "I am he." These words made a sudden effect, and the soldiers stepped back and fell to the ground. "I am who I am" is the name of God revealed to Moses on the Mount Horeb in Exodus 3:14. Pronounced by the Lord, it had a divine power, and the soldiers felt it. When they had recovered from the shock, they asked them again, "Who are you looking for?" And they answered again, "Jesus of Nazareth." The Lord said, I told you, it is me. So if you are looking for me, let them go, so that his disciples would not suffer. But the apostles decided to defend the Lord. Peter drew his sword and, striking the high priest's servant, Malchus, cut off his ear. But the Lord immediately healed him with one touch. Afterwards, Malchus became a Christian. Return your sword to its place, the Lord said to Peter, for all who take the sword will perish with the sword. This is a law of divine truth. Shedding the blood of a man in his place will be shed. Or do you think that I cannot call my Father to send 12 legions of angels? He said, as if opposing 12 legions or 72,000 angels to the 12 apostles. Among those who came for Jesus were the chief priests and the rulers of the temple. The Lord addressed them, Am I a robber that you have come out with swords against me? But this is for the writings of the prophets to be fulfilled. After that, the disciples fled. Maybe Jesus gave them a sign. A young man wrapped in a veil followed the detachment that took Jesus. The soldiers seized him by the veil, but he ran away naked. Maybe he lived near and, being awake with noise, had come to see what was happening, covering himself only with a blanket. The tradition sees in this man evangelist Mark, who tells about it. Evangelists often hid their name by talking about themselves. Peter and John also followed the soldiers at a distance, and so reached Jerusalem, seeing where their teacher was brought. And now the trial of the Lord by the high priests Annas and Caiaphas. Matthew 26, Mark 14, Luke 22, John 18. The enemies led the Lord Jesus bound to the house of the chief priest. Anna was the retired chief priest, and he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, the ruling one. Evangelist John was known to the high priest. He was able to enter their court and told the guard to let Peter in. Ananias began to ask Jesus about what he taught, as if the Lord was the head of some secret conspiracy. But the Lord answered that he didn't say anything secretly, and there were many witnesses of his sermons. There was nothing offensive in his answer, but one of the servants, wanting to please his high priest, struck the Lord, saying, Is this how you answer the high priest? If Jesus had silently endured this blow, it might have been recognized as just. Therefore the Lord objected, If I said something bad, show me what is bad. But if it's good, why have you beaten me? Then Ananias sent Jesus to Caiaphas, who obviously lived in the same big house. All the chief priests and elders gathered at Caiaphas, despite the deep night, to prepare the evidence against Jesus for morning official meeting of the Sanhedrin. They tried to look for witnesses who could accuse Jesus of some criminal offense. They needed at least 2, as the law required in Deuteronomy 17, verse 6. Finally, they found them who said that the Lord wanted to destroy the temple when he expelled the merchants from there. But it was false, because the Lord then said, Destroy this temple, and I will raise it up in 3 days. John chapter 2, verse 19. Meaning the temple of his body. There was nothing to answer to this absurd, and Jesus was silent. This irritated Caiaphas, and he turned to the Lord with a decisive question. I charge you under oath by the living God, tell us if you are the Messiah, the Son of God. This was the formula when the court demanded that the accused must truly answer the question. The Lord could not help answering, and there was no longer need for him to hide his messianic dignity. He answers, "You said so." It was the formal of the positive answer, and added, "From now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of the power in the clouds of heaven." In Psalms 109 verse 1, the Messiah is depicted sitting at the right hand of God, and in Daniel 7:13 and 14, the Messiah as the Son of Man is coming on the clouds of heaven. After Caiaphas tore his garments as if he had heard a blasphemy, "What do you think about this?" he asked those present, and received the desired answer, "He is guilty of death." And they began to swear and mock Jesus. They spat in his face, beat him on the head, mockingly asking, "Prophesy to us, Christ, who is striking you?" And lastly, the verdict of the Sanhedrin. Matthew 27, Mark 15, and Luke 22. The official meeting of the Sanhedrin was quick and was called only to observe the formalities. Its members gathered at dawn at the premises of the Sanhedrin where they took Jesus. They again asked, "Are you the Christ?" Just for protocol. Therefore the Lord said that they were not going to believe or release him. Then, to their direct question, if he was the Son of God, he again answered positively. He was accused of blasphemy. The death sentence was pronounced, and Jesus was brought to the Roman power to execute the death penalty on him. So ends class number 50.